interrupt and do a live feed of some periodic table poems because I think the person next to me said she appreciated them. So I would do that, and then Susan would follow me, and then Richard, you would be following her. But these are two periodic table poems that fit not only in the cc&d book, This Be the Scripture, I am announcing unto thee, but this first one is for the same element. The first one is also in the periodic table of poetry. I have to show off my books because I'm the crazy book lady. So anywho, but this is actually for hafnium. So I hope you enjoy it. This is hafnium. I heard that the element hafnium is named after a literal Latin word, hafnium, which is Latin for Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark. And you know, I've been to Copenhagen, and the one tourist thing that we had to do was go to the waterfront and see the legendary statue of the mermaid on the rock and photograph it like every foreigner before we left town. So we walked to the water, we looked at the statue, not really sure what's so amazing about it, but that's not that big, and we don't even know the story behind it, but everyone new to Copenhagen should, for some reason, check it out. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the element hafnium, named after the city where it was first isolated, had a lot in common with that mermaid, because at first Copenhagen's, and when it was first discovered, the element doesn't seem to serve much of a purpose. Good thing, I suppose, since it seems so rare here on Earth. But as scientists looked at hafnium more, they realized it can form superalloys, which withstand very high temperatures, which is great for parts in space vehicles, you know. Hafnium carbides has been the highest melting point of just two elements, and tungsten carbide with hafnium has the highest melting point. But its scarcity makes hafnium really expensive, because I heard that nuclear power plants can pay $1 million just for the neutron-absorbing hafnium rods. So I guess it would make sense why scientists consider hafnium so special, as special as like their little mermaid, I guess, at Copenhagen's water's edge, because things may seem benign at first, but only when you research deeply do you find their true value and beauty. Hafnium. I'm interjecting with my hafnium, and I have to show, and I'm trying to see it on a live feed and it doesn't know what to do with cameras, but I had this jump photo that I would do with every single element, so you had to have that. But back in the day when I had a show with somebody else, the Bobster, who was my sidekick when I ran the open mic at Gallery Cabaret, this was one of the poems that was performed there as well. And, you know, have to have intro shots of Bob Lawrence introducing us, and it was just a fun time to be able to share for having these things with everyone. But anyway, I believe David said he had that book, which I think Amazon raised the rates of, because it used to be at $11.18 because it represented elements 1 through 118 in the periodic table, but they've raised their rates for, so I don't know what it is exactly now. But then a chemist friend of mine in Chicago said, "Hey, Janet, you write periodic table poems, and there's a contest from Science and Engineering News to do a Twitter length one." So I said, I'm writing a Twitter length poem from every element. And so of course I did one from hafnium that appears not only in This Be the Scripture, but also in Twitterverse periodic table poetry. And I won't go into these books anymore, but I'll just share this really short one with you and try to share the screen. This has nothing to do with the element, although it does. It's called Hafnium Attacks. I heard of hafnium attacks on Microsoft Exchange servers around the world. But how does a periodic table transition metal wreak such havoc? I mean, hafnium makes Intel and IBM integrated circuits. So why did Microsoft choose to name hafnium for this Chinese state-sponsored threat group? I have no idea. It was just this thing for hafnium, which I can't show on the live feed because I'm in a green screen mode. But I did do a reading. I read them once when I was waiting at a KMFDM concert. And we were talking about music, David and I, before this all started, and I happened to be wearing my black lipstick and just sharing element poems. That was this, I'll always do it. But anyway, it was a fun time. Anyway, fun little interjection, but it allowed me to say that the next person that is up is Susan, and then following her would be Richard, yay, and then Lorna will be following as well, but I'll do more reminding like that. And so I'll learn how to mute myself, and I really look forward to hearing Susan. If you're ready, my darling, take it away.